The following is a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.
Crossed Flags, a racing podcast. It's your midweek fix for racing news and information. Brought to you by the Championship Racing Network. Now let's head trackside to join your hosts, Steve West and Matt Nicholson.
Well, hello there, and welcome into the latest edition of Crossed Flags. And as you can see by the other camera angle, the co-host is back. Welcome back to Matt Nicholson, and keeping you updated. And obviously, all of you, the viewers, the listeners, and such, was keeping them updated at your request and by your permission. But now, since you're here, let's go ahead and get the update straight from you. How are you feeling?
Well, it's a slow process, but I'm getting there. As you can probably tell, my voice is still not 100% yet. It's probably, I'm going to say it's probably about 55 to 60%, but I felt good enough up to it today to go for it. It's getting over the soreness and getting over the throat surgery and having the thyroid removed and just dealing with general soreness and general pain and general side effects from it. But overall, I'm climbing there little by little. See,
there's always the possibility. And you said there's always the possibility that the voice may come and go.
And there's a possibility it could come and go little by little, but
okay.
Gotta hang on as much as I can, and there's the battle scar right there.
There you go. So, yeah, we weren't making it up. Trust us. So hopefully we're going to be able to have him on Saturday at 2 for at least a while on the big show. Maybe not for the entire 2 hours, but maybe for a little while. So we can always keep our fingers crossed and hope for that. Coming up here in a little bit, we're going to talk about RedBull. I mentioned it a little bit, and if you were part of the live chat while we were on air, you saw Matt's comments about RedBull and how it's breaking apart, and it seems to be the benefit of every other team. So we'll be talking about that coming up in a minute. Plus, there's been a lot of conversation since Denny Hamlin's podcast last week, not the one that he did yesterday as we air or record live on this Tuesday, but the one that he did last week after Chicago, talking about road courses and street courses. And it was something that Brad Keselowski seemed to kind of echo in his own comments later on in the week. So we'll talk about those here in a minute. But first, as we have been doing ever since, let's talk about the NASCAR Challenge. We're down to our final four here, and it seems to be the tie show when you look at the four guys that are involved in this. Ty Dillon. I mean, how did we get this? Ty Dillon, Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick, can shorten it to Ty, and Christopher Bell.
John Hunter Nemechek.
I'm sorry, John Hunter Nemechek. Of all of these, I think the only one that probably we could have predicted would have been Tyler Reddick.
Quite honestly, I'm not overly terribly surprised with Ty Gibbs.
Okay, I can see that.
Maybe I'm 50% surprised, 50% not surprised. Let's see if we can do it that way. He's improved a lot since they made a change at car chief and got Cheddar Smith over there from Spire. He's improved drastically.
Yeah, that's true. But still, it's, to think about, especially when we're looking at Ty Dillon. Again, he's the 32 seed, and this isn't a basketball game. I get that. But to think that a 16 seed would make it to the Final Four in the NCAA tournament makes you go, huh? And that's the equivalent of what we're talking about here. We're talking about the lowest seed in the entire tournament. And I get it. It's kind of by happenstance of what you did in the three races before Atlanta. So it's kind of luck of the draw. But at the same point in time, he's the 32 seed.
This is more, if like you're talking about the NCAA tournament here, this is more of the right side of the bracket being Gibbs and Reddick. You could compare that more as I'm going to say, probably a 10 versus a 5 kind of style setup, a 10 versus 5 on that side of the bracket regional.
Mm-hmm.
Do it that way. But this other side with Nemechek and Dillon,
you got team.
I'll say you probably got like a 16 versus a 13.
I know. This is the all Cinderella side of the bracket. And again, one of those two is guaranteed to move on to Indianapolis to battle it out for who's going to win everything. And that's the crazy part of it. And the thing about it is both of those teams could certainly use that boost. This isn't going to guarantee you a playoff spot or anything, but to be able to win this tournament and claim $1 million, that's a feather in the cap of these teams, whether it's Legacy or whether it's Cowlick.
And over the years and over his career, as good as Jimmy Johnson was at Dover, being the all-time wins leader at Dover, he's going to throw every personal resource that he has from ability and what the car would need for this or that. It's going to be all hands on deck with Nemechek.
Yeah, exactly. And Eric Jones probably playing a little bit of a factor in that as well. If I'm not, unless I'm missing my guess, I would say Eric Jones would have a factor.
I firmly believe the Cinderella run ends at Dover.
So Ty Dillon, you think will be out, and it will be John Hunter Nemechek in the final?
I think it's going to be. It's definitely going to be an all Toyota final. I'm going to say it's the 42 and the 45. He's squaring off at Indy.
Okay. I'll be real blunt with you. I don't know what it is. Maybe Ty Dillon and Matt Cowlick saw red when this came out and they said, hey, we're in it, so let's just go ahead, and nobody's expecting us to do anything as the 32 seed. Let's go ahead and do whatever we can do. I don't know.
Atlanta, I wasn't terribly surprised because he's a decent super speedway racer.
True. And when we consider the fact that all of those names that ended up being booted out, all of those higher seeds, if you want to put it that way, that ended up being booted out after Atlanta, I'm not terrifically surprised either. It was eyebrow raising, sure, but no, not terrifically surprising. But to see him get this far.
Now, if, as I said at the start of the tournament, when the qualifiers were qualified and the top 32 was selected, the field better be thanking their lucky stars that the 88 car missed the qualification.
Yeah, we both said that. Absolutely.
Yeah, because
you said it, and I'll give you the credit. You said it first, but you were 100% right.
They better be thanking their lucky stars because this would be an absolute runaway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it would. And that brings us to this next question, talking about road courses. And if you think about it, we've been to road courses 3 out of the past 5 or 6 races. Is that what it is?
Out of the last 6.
Out of the last 6. And of course, last weekend was Sonoma, where SVG again was able to kind of have a very comfortable win. And Sonoma's just obviously one of the race courses that we go to on a regular basis. But you think about the 3 wins that he's got. Chicago shouldn't be anything of a stretch of the imagination to our part. Mexico City kind of goes back to the first time that we were at Chicago. Nobody had any experience on the track. And SVG is able to go and give a call to his good buddy, who happens to be a 4-time defending F1 champion in the name of Max Verstappen, who knows a lot about that course, tells him, hey, this is the stuff you need to watch out for. And oh, by the way, if it's wet, here's the stuff you need to watch out for then. And he just walks away from the field, even being told by his crew chief, dude, slow it down. You're good. And it seemed like as he slowed it down, quote unquote, the faster he got, and he schools the field by 17 seconds?
Yeah, it's like the old saying in motorsports, slower is faster.
Exactly. And he just had that car hooked up. At Chicago, it honestly felt like he was the cat playing with the mouse before he killed it. And then NASCAR killed it by throwing the caution flag after they had taken the white flag. Last weekend, I'm playing fan here to a certain extent, but I got to give Chase Briscoe and Chase Elliott some credit. They at least kept SVG in sight. Is that a situation where they're more familiar with a Sonoma over the course of the years that they've run it, so therefore they kind of knew what to expect, but they still didn't quite have enough to be able to keep up with a guy whose entire career was spent on road courses?
I don't think it's so much as that. I think it's so much as that they didn't. I don't think they showed everything they had in that 88 car in that late run.
Okay, so it was another situation of him playing around.
They kept it just enough to where it was made out to be a race, because anybody with a functioning brain cell would know when it comes to a road course, the ability that Gisbergen has, and he showed that in Mexico City, to where it was at one point, I remember it was like 7-second lead, and he stretched it to 17 in a matter of no time.
Yeah, in just a matter of laps, he was just pulling away on a constant basis.
Everybody knows that this is the best way for me to say it. Everyone knows that from a road course racing standpoint, everybody has their eyes on a generational talent from a road course standpoint.
Sure, absolutely. I would agree.
It's a generational talent because he's, from statistics and everything that I've seen and read while I've been recovering, and just haven't needing stuff to read.
Mm-hmm.
He is the second quickest driver to reach 4 wins in history.
Yes. And he's got 3 wins in this, officially his rookie season. So that really, I don't see anybody beating him out for Rookie of the Year this year. He's the quickest to, we'll run over all these stats on Saturday again, but I want to say it was the quickest to 3 road course wins since Parnelli Jones way back in 1967, I think it was, something like that. It's
Dan Gurney.
Yeah, we'll go through all of that stuff on Saturday during the big show. But some people have been wondering, and you and I talked about this too, in the fact that how did SVG get so good so quick? Number one, he grew up on road courses. His time in the Australian Supercar Series, where he's got 3 titles in his back pocket, it's all on road courses. And if you look at them, and I mean really look at them, go take a look. If you haven't done yourself this favor yet, go take a look at the Australian Supercar cars that they're racing and have been racing over the past few years, and then look at a Cup Series car. They are very, very similar. This was a real easy transition for him to be able to get used to the Gen 7 car. And he took like a duck to water when it came to going to road and street courses.
Yeah, he did. And, before these playoffs start, now he's currently sitting as the 3 seed.
Yeah, think about that for a minute.
He's currently sitting as the 3 seed. Don't forget, there is still 1 road course to go before the playoffs start.
Mm-hmm.
And quite honestly, in my opinion, Chris Busch made a clean racing move, but he had that one won last year too.
Yeah, agreed.
And when you sit and do the math on it, he goes to Watkins Glen and he does the same thing in identical fashion that he's done in Mexico, Chicago, and Sonoma. If he does that in identical fashion and he walks out with maximum points,
he's the 1 seed.
He's a legitimate 1 seed. Also, he's got enough playoff points built up and accumulated that he could realistically
breeze into round 2.
Breeze right through the round of 8.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, not only from the round of 16 into the round of 12, but the round of 12 into the round of 8.
Round of 8. And in the round of 12, hey, we've got the RedBull laying there too.
Yep. All right, so that brings us to this topic. Denny Hamlin brings this up in the post-Chicago edition of his podcast. And later on in the week, Brad Keselowski seemed to echo it. they feel like that there are too many road and or street courses. And this year there's 6. We've seen as many as 7. But since they expanded this out, we've seen as low as 5 and as many as 7. So 6 seems to be their target area when it comes to road and or street courses. And I get it. The street course is a relatively new thing. I go back to the beginnings of this show, of the big show, and its history of you and I doing this and me just making it some little 15-minute segment on another show that I was doing on a Saturday afternoon. And I have long admitted that I've been a fan of road course racing. Number one. Number two, if NASCAR is going to call these drivers the best drivers in the world, they should be able to go out on a road course and do well. But number 3, I felt like 2 was not enough because the teams and the drivers generally wouldn't take it seriously. We kept hearing and kept talking about road course ringers. But when you're only going to Sonoma and you're only going to Watkins Glen, and those are the only 2, you had the ability to kind of ignore them based upon the old points system. Now, based upon the rules that we have, they can't ignore them. But some drivers, I guess, still just kind of dread them. But Denny Hamlin and Brad Keselowski saying that there are too many. 6 of them. Is 6 too many? I thought initially that with a 36 race field, 3 would be great because you could put 1 in each third of the season and spread them out. 6. For me, the 6 that they've got, especially what we just talked about, and the fact that we've dealt with 3 road and street courses the last 6 weeks, it's a little too clumped together.
Very, very much so. But
so you think it's about too many?
I would go.
Okay.
And that is in gigantic letters, capital letters. Then there could be a 7th added next year, which is insanely stupid.
Yeah, it might be too much.
Might be too much. And then with it now, the location in San Diego could possibly change to here's a line from here's a movie line. I want their bags packed and the haulers. I'm going to throw a twist into it. The haulers loaded up and shipped out to North Island.
Had not heard that.
I just read it this morning that the possibility that it could go from downtown San Diego to Coronado Island, where North Island is at, where Miramar is. You need to stop. You cannot run a stinking race right where a huge Pacific military installation is.
If that sounds familiar to anybody, think the movie Top Gun.
Ed Harris, I want him on the going to North Island.
If you're insisting upon taking it to one of the cities in Southern California, have it be downtown. I don't see why you would put it out there. I know. I agree with you. No, don't do that.
But where the boat is getting missed, and I'll still say this: where the boat is getting missed, why are we running the risk of sacrificing and just absolutely murdering these places where the core fan bases has been built, and you're drawing your largest crowds just to appease everyone, just to go to a market?
Yeah,
makes no sense.
Yeah,
makes 0 sense.
Well, and I've said this over the last couple of weeks. One city street race is enough. I don't think you need 2 on the schedule. 1 is enough.
You don't need any on the schedule because you got enough dedicated road courses.
I agree.
That put on just as good as, if not a better show than a modified street course in a park.
Sure. But if you insist and apparently NASCAR is going to insist upon doing a street course. If you insist upon doing it one a year is more than enough. And if you want to, pack it up and take it wherever the heck you want to go. But make it one. Okay, you can go to these cities, towns, markets that you've never been to before and throw it downtown on a street course race, and it's a nice novelty for a Chicago, for a San Diego, for a, holy cow, I can't believe I'm saying this, New York City, a Boston, if you choose to do that. Some of these cities that are, heck, go to Seattle. Okay, you can take it to these areas that you have a harder time taking this series to, and you can take it downtown into the middle of the city population, and you can give them some novelty that they've never seen before. But for the love, if you've got a track, a viable track, especially a viable road course that's not that far away, I'd prefer you went there. But you know, like a Willow Springs or something like that, it's probably not close enough. And I know I'm just throwing out a California road course, but you get my point. Depending on how far outside of the town it is, you may not get the people traveling. So, okay, go take it there, but keep it at one, and let's go traveling around with it and go nuts. Heck, go down, do it in downtown Washington, D.C., and let them run right in front of the White House for all I care. But one a year.
I know a way we can put a stop to street racing overall in stock cars, because I know it would probably be a miserable, pathetic race. Let's set up a street course in downtown Birmingham and let them drag race up Richard Arrington Boulevard and then make a hard left and try to do a bunch of loops around Protective Stadium and the BJCC.
Mm-hmm.
That would put a stop to it in a hurry.
I think it would. Yeah, I think it would in a heartbeat.
That put a big stop to it.
But yeah, we don't need more than one. 6, I'm okay with 6 personally. It's on the edge of too much, and I think 7 would be too much. But you gotta figure out a way to spread them out. Gotta figure out a way to
one every 9 races.
Yeah, and see, that I think is a great idea, because it takes back that original idea that I had. And you've got a 36 race schedule. If you split it up in 3 ways, and 12, 12, and 12, one in the first 12, one in the second 12, one in the third 12. And yes, I would put it in the playoffs, either the round of 16 or the round of 12. I wouldn't put it too late. I think you're in good shape.
You put in your West Coast swing, your first West Coast swing. You put Sonoma in the first West Coast swing. You let them run at Green Sonoma. They're probably arguably the most picturesque race you'll ever witness.
Oh, I think so. Absolutely.
Sonoma
by the time we get there in the summertime, and all that grass is burned off, and that's a heritage track now for all intents and purposes for NASCAR, because it's that and Watkins Glen have been there the longest when it comes to the road courses. But you're right. In the spring, it is an absolutely beautiful place.
So you put Sonoma in what I would call quad 1.
Okay.
All right. Quad two. I would say you put Coda in quad 2 in one of your Midwesterns, or your Southwestern, Midwestern swing, like when you're in the region of Texas, Kansas.
Okay.
Around in there, Gateway. You put that in the Southwestern, Midwestern swing. You put Coda in quad 2.
All right.
Quad 3, I'm going to go ahead and jump to quad 4. I say you put Watkins Glen in quad 4. You put it back in the playoffs.
Yeah, round of 16, round of 12 at the latest.
Yeah, you put the Glen in quad 4. Now, quad 3, that's going to be the question mark track for me. I think you scrap all the other ones that you're dealing with right here.
Okay.
Take Mexico City out of the picture because of the logistical disaster that it is. Take Mexico City completely out.
Would you go to Canada? I'm just asking the question.
If I went to Canada, Canada would go to quad 4.
Okay.
I would say if you bring in a road course that is not, I'm not going to use the word not traditional, bring in a road course that is a complete, total unknown.
So you're
And I'm
thinking
going to
of a
say
place that NASCAR's never been.
like a place that NASCAR, you bring in a road course like, I don't know, somewhere like Road Atlanta, Sebring, or Barber.
The only problem that I might have with that is the fact that it would depend on exactly where in Quad 3. The date would be very important.
If you aligned it up within where it made regional logistical sense, one of those three, because you would have that swing in that part of the year. You would be in the neighborhood of Bristol, Darlington, Atlanta, Nashville. You'd be right there in that region.
Yeah.
Would make regional sense from a logistics standpoint.
It could, yeah. And I understand where you're coming from. But again, we're not running lights. So the time of the year, if you're talking July, August, early September here in the South, as you and I well know, and so does producer John, it can get really hot and humid and sticky, and they're going to be out there in the daylight. So that's why I would say if it were my preference, I'd take it back to Road America.
That would be a good one as well. Road America. Road America's in the northern part of the U.S. It wouldn't be as blazing hot. It would be comfortable. So Road America too. Yeah, I could be considered for a Quad 3 race.
Yeah. So, again, for me, 4 to 6 is a nice, comfortable area. But we're at the limit now. We're at 6 right now, and no, I wouldn't go any further. Do I think there are too many? Yeah, but probably not anywhere near as much as what Denny Hamlin and Brad Keselowski are talking about. I think one of the two of them, I can't remember which one, said we ought to just go back to the way it was and go to just Sonoma and Watkins Glen.
Should be, yeah. I mean,
I tend to disagree with that. I tend to disagree with that only because this is a series that touts itself as having the best drivers in the world. You better dang well be able to prove it by going out there and being on all different kinds of tracks.
I think if you develop the season in the quads and you put one every 9 races, you still can't accomplish that.
Yeah, and that allows that to be spread out to where you're not clumping everything into one area like what we did this year.
You replace the Chicago downtown, the street race in Chicago. You bring Chicagoland back. Okay, there's that one right there. Mexico City, you take Mexico City, and you probably either.
That right there is what allows Road America to come back.
You could bring Road America back, or as well as this. And no, I'm not under the influence of pain medication when I say this, but as well as the car has done on 1.5 mile tracks,
get rid of the Roval.
The Roval is dead. Roval is dead in my eyes.
I agree wholeheartedly.
You put that race back on the oval at Charlotte.
Yeah, and
you have 2 ovals.
And as opposed to the Coca-Cola 600, do what they did at Atlanta. Drop it from 500 to 400 miles.
Yeah.
Separate it out that much further from the Coca-Cola 600.
Or take the fall Charlotte race. Hear me out.
Okay.
Do away with it. Make Charlotte a bigger crown jewel of a track than it already is.
Going to the home track once a year. Year Okay.
Here's the second option. You take Bristol and you make Bristol a one stop a year for Cup.
Which, based upon the attendance, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
And as well as the car has done on 1.5 mile style tracks, considering it is an SMI facility.
I think I know where you're going.
Get the weed eaters out. Get the bush hogs out. get all the rollbacks and hauler trucks and get every vehicle out of the property and revive Kentucky.
Yeah, since we seem to be in a revival mode, that would seem to be the way to do it. They're talking about Chicagoland Speedway. Let's talk about Kentucky too.
Because you give take the Bristol, because this is all an SMI tied in deal. You take Bristol, you take that date, you send it to Kentucky.
Okay.
You take the Roval date, send that date to Wilkesboro. You put Wilkesboro in the playoffs automatically as a points race.
Okay.
There's your points race. And you take the All-Star race, which honestly, it should have been done like this a long time ago. You take the All-Star race for venues that only have one date per year, one points paying date per year.
Okay. So you're talking about rolling it around.
Do it just like Major League Baseball, NBA, and everything. Rotate the venues out. One race per year. If you got one race per year, let's say it's Charlotte, Bristol. I'm going to even throw in SMI track. I mean, ISC tracks too. Yes, I'm going to still call it ISC.
Sure, that's fine.
But the All-Star race being under the promotional banner of SMI.
Okay.
Put everything together and let SMI promote the race like they've been doing, but let an ISC track have the option and the ability, they have the ability to host it once a year too.
Okay.
Let's throw 4 dates out right here.
Go for it.
Let's say it's Bristol's a solo date, Charlotte's a solo date.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to put Texas in there because I've been to Texas to an All-Star race and it was miserable.
Yeah.
It's
deep enough in May to be practically June in Texas.
Bristol, Charlotte, Homestead.
Mm-hmm.
See where I'm going with this?
I do.
Bristol, Charlotte, Homestead, and the fourth one, Richmond. All solo dates.
And I asked this if you would think about expanding it out to 5. Because you've moved the All-Star race off of North Wilkesboro, given them a points race, but you moved it out of North Wilkesboro. Would you consider expanding your rotation to 5 and putting it at Rockingham?
Give me this year to see how Rockingham does with a second year of trucks and Xfinity back. Mm-hmm. And then, yes, they enter the conversation.
Okay.
All right. But every fifth year, the All-Star race has to run on a super speedway style format.
So it'd have to run at Atlanta, Talladega, and or Daytona.
Atlanta, Talladega, Daytona.
It's an interesting thought. It really is. The question is now whether or not NASCAR's listening. And we know that somebody generally does, because whatever we generally talk about, somebody ends up doing it. So
comes to life.
Ball's in your court, NASCAR. But we need to wrap up by talking about a little bit of Formula One, because we touched on this when it came to last weekend's big show. Christian Horner, that was the biggest news of the weekend. Christian Horner jettisoned, effective immediately, gone. And if you notice that picture of Christian Horner right there and that Red Bull logo that's right here over that picture, you notice it's got a problem. I chose that particularly for this because you mentioned this. Christian Horner's just the latest guy to leave Red Bull. Adrian Newey has gone from Red Bull, and he's now going over there and helping the likes of Aston Martin. Then look at that situation at Sauber from just last weekend, where seemingly out of nowhere, Nico Hülkenberg claims a top 3 finish, a podium finish. First ever podium finish for Nico Hülkenberg. First podium finish for the Sauber operation since 2012. And who's over there now from Red Bull that used to be at Red Bull?
Jonathan Wheatley.
all of these people are jumping off or being jettisoned from the Red Bull ship. And at least partially, Christian Horner is because he's been there since the very beginning. And apparently, Jos Verstappen doesn't care for him. And if they want to keep Max, he's got to go, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't really matter what the reasoning is. The centerpieces that made Red Bull from a team that was practically defunct when they bought it, Jaguar. And I'm not talking about the car company. I'm talking about the F1 team that was not related to the Jaguar car company in any way. From buying this woe-begotten, don't know which way is good as far as trying to get the cars running right, to a championship-winning team that won 4 straight with Sebastian Vettel, was constantly battling with Mercedes through their 8-year run of, or no, 7-year run. Sorry, Lewis Hamilton had one before he got there. Through a 7-year run of Lewis Hamilton mostly, but just what seemed to be the dominance of it. But if you really look at it, Red Bull was nipping at Mercedes' heels most of that time, and then they turn around and now they're on another heater with Max Verstappen, and they're now losing all that personnel.
I still will sit and say the entire problem with the entire operation is Helmut Marko. The entire problem is the Helmut Marko.
Yeah.
Because you've lost, and I said this with these fingers the other day. You've lost within a span of 2 seasons. You've lost Jonathan Wheatley, Adrian Newey, Sergio Perez, Christian Horner, and I'm going to say it this way: you're seriously on the verge of losing Max Verstappen.
That's a problem.
I'm going to say within the last 10 years of the existence of Red Bull Racing and Formula One, that is your Mount Rushmore of Red Bull.
Oh, yeah. I would agree with that wholeheartedly.
And
well, I might trade out Sergio Perez for Sebastian Vettel.
I would have, this is going to sound absolutely crazy, I would rather have brought in somebody or paid somebody like Mattia Binotto or Flavio Briatore than bringing in Laurent Mekies, because Laurent Mekies has not set the world on fire.
No.
At all.
Highly inconsistent. I've been somewhat impressed because I really kind of figured when Red Bull said that they were going to treat this Racing Bulls organization again as their kid sister organization, that they were going to be backmarkers and we would never see them with a top 10. So I give them some credit for an occasional top 10, but massively inconsistent, because one week you get both drivers fighting for a top 10, maybe even just barely in, and the next weekend they're sitting at the back of the field.
Yeah, the points don't necessarily reflect it. To me, the points tally does not necessarily reflect it. But from an overall consistency standpoint of late, I'm going to say within the last 6 races, Red Bull has been consistently outperformed by Toro Rosso, Racing Bulls, V-Carb, whatever you want to call them.
Pick your.
They've been outperformed. Because Hadjar and Liam Lawson, you got to give credit where it's due. They have picked it up.
Yeah, and they seem to be working much better together than Isaac Hadjar was with Yuki Tsunoda.
Is it by leaps and bounds? No, it's not. But I would rather take, if I'm a team principal, I would rather take this much improvement versus falling this low.
You're right. Yeah, I would rather have your window of best to worst be this big than be this big. And this is too much of a window here. If you're just skimming inside the top 10, but you can fall all the way to the bottom, that's too big a window. It needs to be much closer. You need to be a consistent top 15 organization, if we want to put it that way. And they're not. They're just not. And a good portion of that is because of Laurent Mekies, because he's the person who's riding herd on this. Now, Christian Horner can be legitimately to blame for the fact that they can't find that partner driver to work with Max Verstappen. I get it. But Max Verstappen has set the bar so high up, it's going to be very difficult for anybody, and that included Sergio Perez, to be able to jump up to it. But that is at least partially on Christian Horner's shoulders. But when you look at the performance of Max Verstappen and the fact that he is still your 4-time defending champion, this move boggles the mind.
In quite all honesty, Red Bull has been their own worst enemy.
Agreed.
Because they have, over the last 5 years total, their performance has been so lights out, knocking out of the park every single year, that their expectations are too high. And if you have
Agreed.
If you have a fraction of a failure, whether it be this much or this much, the world's crumbling.
Yeah.
They can't be their own worst enemy if they have one little hiccup from here or there, or if another team, okay, for example, McLaren, they catch up, they pass them, and now everybody at Milton Keynes is falling all over their face because they don't know what to do to catch up.
Is this the dismantling of the dynasty, so to speak?
Let's just say I think we're watching the grave being dug right now.
Okay. I mean, they have been at or near the top basically since buying Jaguar. And you think about it, they bought Jaguar 20 years ago. 20 years ago, this year was the first year for Red Bull. And it took them 2 years before Sebastian Vettel got up there and grabbed that driver's title. 3 years, I think. That's not long. You think about the other sports dynasties that lasted more than a decade. And they all ended up being dismantled in some way, shape, or form because the players left, the coaches, with respect, died off, or they couldn't recreate it after having lost a few players. And I go to the NFL, and you think about the dynasties that we've had. Let's go back to the 1970s. You think about the 4 Super Bowls that the Pittsburgh Steelers won. Chuck Noll could never recreate it, and finally he was gone. You get into the 1980s, and Bill Walsh creates the San Francisco 49ers. Bill Walsh leaves. Yes, they do win one under George Seifert the very next year, but after that, they start to go away and head back to normal. Early 90s, Dallas Cowboys. What have they done since? Late 90s, back-to-back for the Denver Broncos. And then all of a sudden, Elway goes, and so do they. And then you get into the early 2000s, and you got about a 20-season run for the New England Patriots. Where are they now? They're in massive rebuilding mode. Sooner or later, this had to happen for Red Bull. They had to lose what did build them up. But I think the worst move that they could have made was to take Christian Horner, who was, for all intents and purposes, the architect. And he's not past his prime by any stretch of the imagination, and you throw him out the door because of a couple of scandals, one of which they said themselves he was cleared from all allegations. What? I don't get it.
I don't either.
So, I don't know. Time will tell. Red Bull certainly has. They have the resources to be able to go in and fix this problem in a hurry if they listen to the right people. But I think you nailed it when you said they kept the person that they probably should have jettisoned, and they jettisoned the person they should have kept. I think they should have kept Christian Horner. They should have jettisoned Helmut Marko.
And I don't think Lauren Mickey's it was the right move either.
And I think that'll bear itself out in fairly short
It'll
order.
show itself and it'll bear itself out. Yes, it will.
In fairly
But
short order.
you got, granted, he had his problems with him, but from a veteran, been around the sport for a very long time standpoint, and knows what he's doing, if he's got the resources to do it, I would have jettisoned Marco and Mekis, leave Horner where he's at, and I would have brought somebody in like Gunther Steiner for Racing Bulls. Call me stupid, but he could probably elevate Racing Bulls to a level that Red Bull could be at. Red Bull is at.
Yeah.
I mean,
you might not be wrong. Might not be wrong at all.
I mean, there's way too many, way too many good ones out there that have had good experience as team principals to just elevate somebody up that has really not set the world on fire at no matter where he's been at as a team principal.
I agree. And then there's the question of where does Christian Horner end up? And that's going to be a fun one to watch, because I guarantee you when the time becomes that he is able to fill out, as they would say in Europe, his gardening leave, there's going to be a feeding frenzy to try and bring Christian Horner aboard, because they know his track record.
I've got this sinking feeling everybody's going to be seeing red.
And you might be right. Put him... yeah. Considering the fact that Ferrari wants so badly to get back to championship form, yeah, I could see that.
Fred was sore. He's picked Ferrari back up from where they fell with Binotto.
But I'm not sure he can take them the rest of the way.
They're not actually standing flat-footed. They're just kind of still back on their heels, just teetering a little bit.
Yeah.
Horner would probably put them on the balls of their feet running forward.
Yeah. What I've seen out of Fred Vasseur, and again, you're right, to his credit, he has picked them up and made them confident in themselves again. But I have not, over the course of his time in Formula One, seen him have the ability to close it out and get them to, as you would say, get them to running. I believe you're right that Christian Horner could figure out how to get them running.
And Ferrari's got the money to get him.
They're one of the few teams that actually could do it. One of the few. And I don't see Mercedes doing it, truth be told, because they've got Toto Wolff. What do they need him for? Toto Wolff has proven what he can do. He's still proving what he can do.
Heck, you could elevate Bono up to team principal and let Toto just run the front office.
Well, that's true. But still, I don't see them doing it. I think that they're going to be more than happy doing what they're doing, because what they've been doing has worked for them in this era of Formula One. And so therefore I don't see Toto Wolff going anywhere.
When it's finally announced what Verstappen's doing, if Verstappen leaves to go to Mercedes, if that's going to set off a domino effect like you've probably never seen before, because there will be an awful lot of money thrown around at the upper echelon drivers.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be a seat roulette probably like we hadn't seen in a long time.
Yeah. And it's going to be real interesting to see. And I think part of this is another one of the reasons why we're seeing Cadillac just take their time to figure out who it is that's going to take the two seats over there for the beginning of the 2026 season, because this domino effect that you're referring to could mean a couple of fairly interesting names suddenly become available.
It's things that I've read through as of late. Apparently the leaders in the clubhouse for the seats at Cadillac are Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas.
Mm-hmm. Which would be good drivers, but again, maybe you wait just a little bit longer and start to see where the dominoes fall.
Yeah, it would be a solid start for him for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. To have two veterans like that who know how to get those cars around and have actually found themselves in victory lane. Yeah, those would be two really good drivers to start. And I know we keep talking about how overall they would love to have an American-born driver. Let's get your feet wet first. Let's get in there and get yourself established. Then you can go find that American-born driver. It'll come around sooner or later.
Yep.
All right. Thank you very much to producer John. I appreciate, of course, Matt sticking around for as long as he has, because we've actually been doing this now for, 40-something minutes or so. So I appreciate the fact that your voice held out. Thank you to your doctors for that. Again, thanks to producer John and producer Molly as well for getting us up onto CRN Live on YouTube, and, of course, on YouTube, Jocks FM TV. We appreciate both of them. You all have a fantastic rest of your week. We'll talk to you again Saturday morning. Don't forget about it, 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central Time. Comments below, always welcome. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you have already, number one, thank you. Number two, tell your friends all about us. Make sure that they do as well. We'll talk to you Saturday morning and, of course, next week right here on Cross Flags.
You've been listening to Crossed Flags, a racing podcast. For more content like this, subscribe to CRN Live on YouTube, and you'll be set to catch the 2-hour live show every Saturday morning at 9 Eastern, 8 Central.
This has been a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.